Alright everybody, what's up? Sirvalorsax coming back at you here. This video is going to be a little bit different. In this video, I actually want to talk about doing a side hustle. If you know a musician, you know somebody that's looking for a side hustle. And I'm telling you right now, I have done a lot of side hustles. I worked at Kmart. I worked at Hill's department store, which was like Kmart. I was a computer lab monitor back when they had Apple IIe's when I was in college. I worked in this factory for about 8 hours, making these Tupperware, little plastic things with all the oil and all that nastiness. I was even a door-to-door knife salesman during the OJ trial. So I've done a lot of side hustles. And I'm telling you right now, this one that I just found is absolutely by far the best one that I've ever done. So I always get emails and messages from fellow musicians that are just like, hey man, what are you up to right now? How much you gigging? You know, if any good side hustles, whatever. So I started up in the delivery service, which is basically a courier service, DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats. Right now, I'm pretty exclusive to just one, which is DoorDash, but I want to give you guys a heads up on what a side hustle like this is like, and ultimately why you should consider doing it and why you should actually learn how to use the app to maximize your efficiency at being able to pull in some easy bread, which is personally, when I was starting out, this was about probably 5-6 months ago. I just wanted to pull in an extra $30 to $35 a day. That gives me an extra $1,000 a month that I can put into my bank account. I've raised that up now to like 50 to 100 bucks a day because I've just got better at using the app. So what is it? You hear a lot of people talking about the gig economy, and the gig economy is not necessarily our thing as gigs as musicians, but what's being called the gig economy is essentially some type of courier service. So you basically go to a place, pick it up, and then drop it off with the customer, and you get paid. It's really that simple. Fundamentally, it's really just that simple. If I want to simplify it even better, all you're really doing is picking up money and putting it in your bank account. But instead of money, it's either food or some type of supplies, whatever, and then you drop it off at a customer. But at any rate, you're really just picking up money and dropping it off into your account. That's the most general way I can describe what this is. So, of course, there are some drawbacks to all of that. There's a whole lot of that on YouTube that you can find about people that complain about some of the ins and outs of what this gig is all about. But I just want to kind of go over the basics so that way if you are on the fence about doing it, I highly advise you to do it. I'm going to say this right now. Number one, make sure you have a fuel efficient vehicle. Make sure you got a fuel efficient vehicle. Okay, so let's get to some of the things that I think that you should do before you even take your first delivery. So, number one, as a musician, the biggest issue you're going to have is getting over the stigma of actually doing something like this. When I was in school, everybody made fun of the pizza guy. You delivering pizzas, haha, and all the jokes that came over with that. But in this day and age, man, you're getting paid way more than the pizza guy is to deliver this stuff. Get over the stigma of doing something like this. And I think once you actually get out there and start doing it, then you go, you know what? This is too easy for me to not know that something like this is out there for me to do. Number two, get yourself a notepad and just write down the times when it's busy. So that way you can maximize your efficiency. Now, using DoorDash, once you elevate your status, you can get top dasher and you can dash whenever you want. And I highly advise you, probably in most areas, you're going to need to do that. Okay. Once you get familiar with the app, then you can decide whether it's worth it for you to actually do that. All right, so before I go any further, I want to show you how I don't use the app, and this is just me. I know that some people, if they're in a better area, if they're in a better situation, they can definitely take advantage of this. But number one, I don't do it at night. Like before it starts getting dark, I'm out. I'm done. And unfortunately, in my area, it's just too dangerous. I want no part of that, man. And sometimes these orders don't get picked up and people forget and they fall asleep and you can't find the address and it's dark and they don't leave the lights on. Like, I ain't dealing with that. The other thing is alcohol. I don't particularly like taking alcohol orders, even though I'm not doing this at night. It's going to be during the day. I have taken probably 5 or 6 of them and I haven't had any issues, but it's always just like, So I generally don't take any alcohol orders. And the other thing is doing shopping for people. I have some reservations about what kind of labor is involved with that and how much money I should be paid in order to do that. But you do have all 3 of these options that will make you a heck of a lot more money than what I'm making using it with these types of limitations. So another thing I want to really emphasize is that just like you need to actually learn how to play your instrument, you need to learn how to use the apps. There is a learning curve on how to pick orders and that whole bit. And personally, I've found the whole thing to be very much like a video game where you go to mission headquarters and then you wait for a mission to get sent in, and then you go to the drop-off point, you go to the pickup location and then drop it off at the drop-off point. Then you get like points, you get money and the whole bit. It's like the live action video game with this stuff. Only, be safe about it. All right, this ain't Grand Theft Auto. All right, so let me take you to my car and I'll show you what I have inside. And these are the kind of things that you're going to need before you actually start doing the gig. All right, let's do it. I want to show you my car and the stuff that I have in it. This is the stuff that I use when I'm actually doing deliveries. So I want to go over some of these things so that way you are prepared before you actually start doing any kind of deliveries of any kind whatsoever. All right, so first of all, let's take a look at my busted ass car. I have lovingly nicknamed this thing the Bandit car. It's a Pontiac, but I've owned a couple of Pontiacs in my lifetime and both of them were absolute crap. And this car is no different. I worked on cruise ships for a long time and then I left ships in 2004. I wound up buying an 88 Dodge Colt. That was that was the best car I ever owned. But when I went back to doing ships, I gave that car to my dad. So when I quit doing ships in 2019, he was like, look, let me hook you up. I'll get you a car. So he got me this thing and it is not equivalent, but don't look a gift horse in the mouth, right? But at any rate, whole reason why I'm even talking about this is because you want to have a car that is in excellent operational order. And I spend a lot of money just fixing this thing. And what do I got to do? I got to work more using this car to make money to get another car. So, that's the cycle. But at any rate, let's take a look at what I have inside of this thing so that way we can be all right. So first and foremost, you want to make sure you got a car that's getting at least 20 miles per gallon in the city. Otherwise, you are going to struggle doing jobs like these where you got to make all these deliveries and you're doing a lot of city driving. Okay, so inside you can see this is an automatic. I don't know anybody crazy enough to do any of this type of delivery work with a stick shift. You are going to need, oh man, you're going to need that extra hand. At any rate, you see I got that cup holder there. It's got the phone holder, something that's relatively close to your eyesight. You can see I got some towels and stuff over here, but let's take a look at what I got in the back. I got myself a little Gulu jump charger. You never know when your car is just not going to want to start. You can just start it, finish, and then get home and then get to it to get everything together. I got some other stuff here, some antifreeze, because this car, yeah. But over here, you can see I got a bunch of cup holders. You can never have too many cup holders doing a gig like this. You can see I even got those ones that you get from the restaurant. If you guys are ever in Canton, Ohio, make sure you get to the Canton Museum of Art. It's awesome. Over there is one of my delivery bags. That's a large one. That's a catering bag. I've gotten a couple of catering orders, but I am not part of the large order program. Let's take a look around the back. Okay, so we're here on the other side. And here, this is where I just generally keep water, little plastic bottles. You want to definitely make sure that you stay hydrated. But do yourself a favor and do not drink too much water, because what goes up must come down. What goes in must come out. You will be stuck and have to go. So I got some towels here. I generally like to get white towels. I generally use that to kind of prep food, specifically drinks. If I have it, I can kind of prop it up using cup holders and whatnot, and that stops that stuff from moving around. I have an insulation bag here. This is one of the general ones that you can get at a dollar store. They cost like a little more than $1 at the dollar store now, because that's the world we live in. People, even though it's like 40 degrees out here, people still order ice cream. So you want to make certain you got some type of insulation bag. When you work for DoorDash, once you do enough orders to get taxed, they send you these type of ones along with the red card. Quick disclaimer, I have not activated my red card, and all right, speaking of the devil, that was my dad that just called. All right, so over here I have another insulation bag. I have two of these. I got another one in the house. This is my main insulation bag, and you can see I got some napkins and a whole bunch of straws and yet another towel. You can never really have too many of these insulation bags. So sometimes the restaurants don't like to give people straws, so I like to just get some extra straws and make sure that the people got them. Underneath here, as soon as you get signed up, make sure you get a couple of pizza bags. The one that I've seen on the DoorDash website, they are the ones that I think are the cheapest. Some of these restaurants will just give you these DoorDash bags for free, and if you can do that, then go ahead and do that. But for a long time I had kind of hang-ups about doing pizza orders, and then I realized how much money I was losing not taking these pizzas. So get you at least 2 pizza bags, because pizza can make your week big time. You can have a really nice day delivering these pizzas, especially as football season in the United States, American gridiron football. Man, all people eat on Sunday is pizza, and you can rack up some nice change. All right, let me come around the other way real quick. So this car is a 2001. This is a 22-year-old car, and do yourself a favor and get something that just has fantastically good gas mileage. You can make a lot of money by not having to spend a lot of money on gas. You got yourself a Toyota Prius, a Honda Insight. I just saw one of these recent Honda Insights, and that thing looks fantastic. People are getting 50, 60 miles to the gallon on these things, and wow. Everybody that's doing a delivery gig like this would love to have a car like that, believe me. Plus, you know, it's just nice. Okay, it's cold out here, and I'm about to go back in the house. If you like this kind of content and you want to support the channel, you can buy me a delicious piece of cake. It's like Patreon or Kickstarter, one of these kind of things, one of these donation type of things. And I appreciate those of you who have done that. Thank you a lot. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I do have my All Things Diminished book, my Altissimo book for alto and tenor, available as a digital purchase. That link will be in the description below. Okay, I know that there's people that's going to say, man, with a guy that plays the way you do, man, you shouldn't have to do a job like that. I'm telling you right now, every musician wants to have some kind of side hustle. And whatever your side hustle is, I mean, I'm looking to get some kind of science gig somewhere. I'll work in a science museum, something. I'll do something. I'm looking for something that just has nothing to do with music in any capacity whatsoever as a side hustle. When COVID hit, all the gigs were gone, and the people doing this line of work, these delivery courier services, man, they were cleaning up. And it'd been nice to have something like that going while wasn't nothing happening. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sometimes I get bogged down in my own like personal creativity, and I'm just like, man, I got to clear my head. And it's nice to just go out and just know that there's something else that's out there. I think it's better to be very diverse, and plus it's got me more diverse because I go to a bunch of different restaurants that I would never actually go into. And guess what? Just like a band playing, there's musicians that are there. So you can even connect and reach out doing courier services like this and you can expand. All because in your mind, I mean, I would never go to this particular restaurant because I don't particularly eat that kind of food regularly. I don't generally go eat Indian food. And this is a guy who worked on cruise ships with Indians for 21 years. But then my dad was like, hey, man, let's go to this Indian restaurant. And I was like, looks like I'm going to this place quite a bit now. If y'all know of a Filipino restaurant around here, man, let a brother know. All right. But at any rate, I just wanted to make sure that you guys had some inspiration, some confidence in being able to just take a gig that's outside of music without the stigma that's associated with some of that kind of stuff. Because I'm 49 years old, man. I'm long past all of that. Just pay me. Pay me. You know what I'm saying? But at any rate, I actually enjoy it. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it, and I wouldn't be up here making videos about it. And it's freed up a lot of time for me to be able to do some music, get some extra money going in, and get some other stuff going. So I want to hit it real hard for the month of November, getting way back into like really doing like longer form content on my YouTube channel. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. That's all I got for you. See ya.